Okay, RC Rent Carcass here again. Um, Global War 3640. Ooh, I just put right on camera there. Global War 36 to 45 by Historical Board Gaming. Heavily house ruled. I got a separate video I did on the house rules and how they affected things in the game. I'm not really going to bring them up here. You can watch that video. It'll be in the playlist. Just going to run over them though. Russia declaration of war change, remove the fall of Berlin from all sides, which means that January 39, any power, major or minor, Netherlands was able to make have extra income bonuses. I gave them a D6 in July 39, same turn as everybody else to increase their income. If a major power declares war on anyone in Europe, I gave them $1 every time. And +3 if there was +3 income if there was an attack on the border of Netherlands ownership. So that would be either land or sea zone border. All right, I threw in a change to the alignment of warlords. Didn't really affect things much. Technology bonus rolls. I do that all the time. Just basically, everybody was allowed to roll for extra tech or got a free tech at the start of the game, but tech wasn't available to be used until the standard time. Light cruiser, battle cruiser. I didn't really use them too much in this game, but yeah, no big change. I threw in seaplanes. I just did a generic seaplane. I wasn't sure if I wanted to buy the sculpts. I wanted to make sure that I was actually going to use the units first. I'm actually positive for seaplanes, but I needed to adjust the rules there. Started out as a 8 move and I dropped it down to a 6. Convoys, I ended up house ruling that because the base house rule game was odd, but there we go. Alright, so grand finale of the game. The Axis won. The Axis won with 12 points. The Allies lost with 6. And the Comintern came in a close second at 8. Technically, the Comintern would have won, but every land zone in your home country that is missing or that is taken over by an enemy alliance, such as these ones here for Russia, is -1 victory point. All right, I didn't add in the cities because I find the victory cities are just the capitals of everything, and it's just not fair with Russia only having Moscow. Realistically, Russia has no chance at Berlin, Paris, Rome, London, Washington. What were the other ones here? Calcutta, Nanking here, which is the Chinese. They do have a chance at that one, I guess. They kind of have a chance at this one here, but it never happened. Tokyo, Sydney, and I think that's it. So basically the capitals of all the major powers or their divisions in economy, right? This is a division of economy and this is a separate power. It's a minor. All right. So yeah, that was a minor. I didn't even add those in. Had I, let's see, Axis would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Comintern would be 1, and Allies would be 1, 2 for London and Washington, and then they would have had Sydney, so 3. So Allies would have had 3. The Axis would have had 6, and the Comintern would have had 1. And that's completely arbitrary. And I find the victory cities, I don't mind that as a winning form in global war. In Axis and Allies Global 1940, it makes sense-ish. I'm still not a huge fan of how the scoring in that is either, but the victory cities in this one, I mean, you can't just use capital cities. You'd have to use more, right? You'd have to say any, but there's not enough on this side of the map, right? There's only one here, San Francisco, Tokyo doesn't have the circle, but fine, give it to it. Nanking, Peking here, and Calcutta and Sydney, if you go with the circles. But then when you get on this side, you know, you got Istanbul, you got Warsaw, you've got all these Russian cities. Now, if you start following a city as anything that's got the circle, or a major power's capital, I could see that. You know what I mean? Maybe adding those up. I haven't actually added them up to see how they balance, but you know, yeah, you got a couple down here. You've got 4 in the U.S. You've got 1 in Canada. You got 1 in London. You got 1 in Spain, 1 in Gibraltar, 1 in Paris, 1 in Berlin, 1 in Warsaw, 1 in Rome, Istanbul, Kiev, Smolensk, Leningrad, Stalingrad, and Moscow. You know, it starts to get a little bit more fair if you add those up, but I don't know. The victory scoring is odd. Anyhow, this was a weird game. There were a couple of major developments throughout the game that really changed things. I played each nation as though it was part of a team. I didn't have a particular favorite. I didn't really try to make... I wasn't the German player with my buddy being the Italian player and another buddy being the Japanese player. I was all 3 at once. So when I played as the Axis, I played as though the whole Axis needed to win, right? I didn't care what part of the Axis took what location, unless there was a victory point for it or an income bonus, right? The only reason I made Germany take Iraq is Germany gets a +2 income increase. Italy does not. So Germany got it, right? It was in the Axis best interest to let Germany take that, right? It was in the Axis best interest to let Italy take this place and to take Gibraltar for the same reason. Germany could have, but it left it for Italy to take, right? Same with this one. Russia, I did the same thing. I used these guys as a puppet empire in Spain. They're no longer in existence. I also used these folks here in China rather effectively and lend-leased a bunch of aircraft to the KMT, but they moved on a Russian turn, which is the same turn that the CCP went on. And I didn't actually lend-lease them. I just operated Russian vehicles in that location and could recall them at my leisure. That is why Japan struggled so much. There were 2 fighters and a tactical that were attacking with the Comintern. The infantry would move forward and bring 3 aircraft, right? And I was always careful with those aircraft, never to subject them to any possible Japanese aircraft. That way I didn't potentially lose them in an air superiority round to the Japanese. All right. It also has helped that Xinjiang and Zhebei and Ma, I'm hoping I'm saying those at least kind of accurate, were aligned warlords to the KMT or to the CCP, so they had a few more units than just the Communist China there. All right, so yeah, that's how that worked out. That really put a cramp in the Russian moves, and as a result, I had 2 different forces that were able, one low, one high, to attack the Japanese. And I just kept rotating, and as a Japanese player, I had to eventually just go, okay, screw it. I gotta pick one of these and just kill it. I don't care how much I'm wasting and how I'm missing out on my other objectives. I need to eliminate one of them. So that's what I did. I had to go for I took out the communist stack, then I eliminated the KMT. The CCP were down to only that location there, but I did not have the troops to go send there when I was trying to take out India, so it grew like another cancer. There you go. Japan. My theory with Japan was to keep the U.S. out of the war. Japanese activities aggravate the U.S. And and increased their income heavily. Almost all the US's increases were based on what Japan did. Didn't really care what Italy and Germany did, so I just went crazy on this side and worked on China and tried to keep Japan out of any war with anybody and give no money increases to the US. So the US came in very late, sometime in 43, I believe. It was the second half, but I could be wrong. So that didn't go so well. Russia was staying out of the war with Germany and with the Axis and the Allies both. In the beginning, they didn't get actually involved until the second last turn, where they started trying to steal points from both sides here. And as you can tell, Russia went after Germany, so that looks totally different. There was a lot more German-controlled places. Russia was pretty much beat down to its core, but this is what they got left. And Italy came in later and took a couple of freebies there. Anyhow, so Russia was not a non-factor on both Japanese and German and Italian aggression against the Allies, which made a huge difference. So Britain was spending a lot of money and time and effort building up down here, trying to move up and take out the Italians. I think I spent too much time and effort down there, and once Germany took over most of Europe here with no Russian threat, it just had a little bit of a, it had enough units here to be a threat, but none of them were on the border, so Russia was just running around gobbling up little places like Iran and Portugal, and Russia had Portugal on that side. They were going after the Netherlands. They were just biding their own time, just gobbling up everybody else's leftovers, getting as many points as they could. So Britain was focused heavily on the Med and the Italians. So as a result, Germany said, fine, in order for Italy to be a powerhouse in the Med, Germany started building up a navy and attacking and successfully amphibiously assaulting Scotland multiple times and Liverpool a few times. This last turn here, they took another run at London just to eliminate the British's ability to build anything or use anything or who knows what. And failed the last time, but all that pressure that Germany placed on the British allowed the Atlantic to look like this. There's one Allied vehicle. This one is just here for an example, so I'm going to get that out of the way. One Allied vehicle in the or naval vehicle in the Atlantic. That's it. One destroyer, right? Everything else is either Italian or German. Same with the Med. There's some neutrals down here, but they're non-factors. Nobody got them involved. On this side, same deal, right? Russia was busy with these guys, and the Australians took them out and aligned the Netherlands to the Commonwealth, right? Yeah, things got bad. So the way the war was won here by the Axis, Japan stayed out of the war with the Allies. Italy focused entirely on the Med. Germany didn't have anything to do with Russia, so it just kept all its troops in Poland, Romania, and back into Germany here. And as a wall here, just as a guard, just in case, but far enough away from the border that Russia knew that it was going to be, it wasn't going to lose a stack, so there was no benefit for either side to initiate war without, moving within range of a serious counterattack. Sea Lion was a feint. I mean, I only had 3 transports in any given time. If I was serious about it, I would have had a lot more. But it was enough of a feint that Britain had to start spending money on this side, building troops in Canada, transport them across to keep London, which shut down this factory here, which shut down their production of and movement of ships and men into the Med, which allowed Italy to go on a crazy Mediterranean goblin thing. Italy ends the game here at 26 bucks. I mean, quite a few of these are from Russia. There's about 9 there from Russia, but still, they were at 15 bucks throughout the game here. A bonus income of 2, no airships for 4, and Gibraltar for 6. Italy was doing fine. Italy was basically matching the British in income and doing great. Yeah, so Japan kind of sacrificed itself so that this side could win. Allies were struggling because Japan kept the U.S. out of the war for so long, and the U.S. just couldn't win an income increase roll. So there you go. Yeah, that's it. I'm done with that. There's not really much else that happened. Well, I mean, Russia came in here with a rather substantial navy, attacked the Dutch, then the Australians took it out. I mean, that was a huge game changer there. That game changer up there caused a game changer in the Med with all these things here. France was never a factor. I think we're about done. The only problem is Japan never had enough money to build any more navy, really, just a handful of destroyers. And the U.S. didn't get involved in the war until too late, so they didn't have enough money to spend on either side. They were very busy attacking Spain amphibiously and all that other stuff, but Germany just had too much money. It just counterattacked it every time. Every time it landed, it counterattacked. And I was trying to get a foothold too early, too hard. I should have focused instead. Like, if there wasn't an end of game, I would have actually consolidated the American Navy, spent an extra turn building up some defense and some transports, and moved in with a more substantial force, had a nice shuck going on, and man, Germany wouldn't have been able to stand against it. However, the Americans got in too late and I couldn't get that involved. Also, this side, I was the sole defender for the Allies, trying to help these guys out, who are basically the only ones that still exist. Yeah. All right, so that was basically a game summary here. I'm sure I missed a whole pile of stuff. If you're interested and you wanted to watch how I played the game here, I made sure I have an all powers video for every turn. Some of them are broken up into parts just because the videos were too long. I included all my rolling, my combat moves, my non-combat moves, my rationale and reasoning behind why I did what I did and when. And you're free to look that up in the playlist here for this Global War 36 solo game with house rules, I believe is how I wrote it. Or solo, or house rules, solo game, I can't remember off the top of my head here. And yeah, enjoy it if you wish. If you want to just watch turn by turn summary, there is the that was the all powers for every move. There is a summary at the end of every turn where I just go into a brief synopsis of what happened. I skip a lot of stuff that happened in the all powers ones because I was just looking at the major changes and how one turn ended, the next turn's about to start. These are the geographical changes or the major piles of units that have moved around or disappeared or whatnot. All right, and yeah, had a bunch of house rules in here, so I'll leave you there. One thing, commanders. I added the commanders in, I think, July 39. Maybe it was a turn 2 earlier before that. I just painted up a bunch of units. So really all I did, this is a Russian one here, I just painted gold base and the heads gold. Hey, pretty much tell that's not the same as that guy, right? I mean, there's 2 commanders and a regular dude there. That's it. Commanders, I don't mind the rolls. I find them fine. When you lose a commander, I just gave you, similar to tech, you could roll once per turn to try and replace the commander. If you failed the roll, you did not get the commander back. But you had a chance to try it again next turn. The other thing I did like about the commanders is they can ride around in a naval ship and move as far as a naval ship can go, but on the ground they can only move one, which leaves them behind in a blitz. So I've decided a house rule in the commanders that the commanders can move one or two with whichever unit it happens to be. So long as it moves with a group of units that are blitzing, it may follow the blitz. If it's moving with a tank or a motorized or something from 2 spaces away from the conflict and moves forward and engages in the conflict, that's fine. It can either blitz or move to with the units that are also moving, right, to engage in combat. Otherwise, it's always left behind, and the blitzing front just leaves it behind all the time. Then they become useless. It's like you're reinforcing infantry. They're, never catch up to the front. Or they catch up, and they're available there for a counterattack, defense, but you can never attack with the commander then. Right? Anyhow, that's a digression. That's not that important, but it's something I certainly believe is required. Trying to think. I think I pretty much covered everything. So there you go. I really enjoyed this game. Thank you all for your comments and feedback through the game. You have affected how I adjusted my house rules. Your observations from an outside perspective, kind of, when you're in there trying to make a decision based on this and then you're trying to do that, somebody else's observation from watching is different than somebody who's actually involved in that specific engagement. And you can notice things that I should have noticed but totally slipped my mind or whatever. So thank you for your little hints and comments. It was pretty busy trying to be everybody all the time and remember everybody's non-combat moves, recruitment rolls, wartime economy rolls, all that stuff, tech rolls, all these things. It's just so much stuff that you just kind of lose it once in a while. All right. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching. And yeah. If you guys have anything else that you want to bring up, I will always appreciate constructive criticism or, suggestions. Even if it's something I don't implement, I still appreciate the suggestion because it makes me think look at something at a new perspective, right? It may not be something I might use in the game, but it helps me understand other people and how they play the game. And maybe it'll help somebody else who watches my videos. All right. The whole point of this is, 1, to have fun, and 2, to help other people have fun. And sometimes I spend my days watching other people's videos because I just can't seem to get a group together to play a game for a while. And then other times I got a whole bunch of games going on and I don't have time for videos or making videos. All right, so yeah, RC here saying see you later. Thank you, and hope you enjoyed the game of Global War 36 to 45 with a heck of a lot of house rules and a couple of expansion sets. I had the fighting railways. I had the Netherlands at war. I had light cruisers, battle cruisers, seaplanes, and commanders all in this one. It was pretty busy. All right. Anyway, I wanted to get some more in here, but I found that every time you add something like a commander, it adds to the complexity of what you're doing, right? There's extra units. There's extra modifiers. There's an extra thing that has to be rolled. There's an extra thing that has to move. There's an extra thing you have to remember. And eventually you reach a point of critical mass where it's just like, I've added so many bonus things to this game that it's just I can't remember them all. There's just too many things, right? Yeah. So, anyhow, I'll leave you there on that. Thanks for watching. Hope it was a good time. And yeah, just a quick recap on what all happened. Tons of tech. Everybody but the US has wartime economy. Everybody but France and the US has improved shipyards. All sorts of tech in here. Some of them got used a lot. Some of them I just got because that gave me a variety. Every once in a while, it's nice to have some of these things. A little word of caution with tech. I prefer tech like long-range aircraft or improved shipyards or something along that line that adds bonuses to every unit and doesn't cost you any extra money. I like tech like jet aircraft and heavy armor, but the additional cost that these units cost, you know what? At times, you do need something that doesn't cost a lot of money and has a lot of hits. So, if you're building a lot of heavy armor, you're going to struggle, right? So, that's why I like having the advanced mechanized as well, right? Same cost. They can blitz two mechs per one tank or heavy tank versus 1 for 1. Love this tech, right? Same with our advanced artillery. No cost increase, but you can build better units. Both of those are wonderful as well, right? Heavy armor is great, but it costs $2 more per tank. That's expensive, right? These cost the same, and they defend excellent. And you need something there to take the hits so that your heavy armor stays alive. Otherwise, there's no point in having heavy armor. All right, so yeah, I was going to go over the incomes at the end here, just to recap. So communists, 49 for the for these guys, 1 for those. So Russia and KMT. France was at 2. UK Pacific or FEC, depending on what game you're used to, is at 5. Australia is at 7. Netherlands is at 8. Britain, UK, or Europe is at 18. Italy's at 26. Japan was all the way up to 39. Actually, all the way down to 39 now. The Americans are at 64. Germany's down a bit, but they were much higher. They're currently at 71. Yeah, so it doesn't matter what the game is, how you score makes it a little gamey. That's why there's some scattered craziness going on here. You would never do this kind of stuff here if you were going to play another turn, right? Russia wouldn't be attacking behind its own lines and leaving these units alive for Russia or Germany, right? Russia would not end the turn with that much open and nothing there, right? Like, these troops just walk through these planes and land in the capital. It's not going to happen. These troops here as well, right? All I had to do is blitz through Western Russia with his 2 dudes and take the capital. Like, you would never do that. Unless it was the last turn and Germany did not go after you. Same with the stuff, this craziness that's going on here on both sides. Anyway, I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to shut her down. RC Rank Kirkus here saying thank you for watching and see you later. Hopefully I'll have another game out, or one of you will, and I can watch that. Thank you. Bye.